Okay. Welcome.
Thanks.
So we just keep this real casual.
Sure, yeah.
You know, this is really about you and what you're doing. So I'm here with, is it Sevy or
It's actually Sevy.
Sevy?
Yeah, which I don't
Okay,
mind.
well, see, because I wondered that because I saw like your initials or something on some artwork.
You got it.
And
yep.
I saw PCV. I'm like,
Yep.
is he trying to, insinuate it's CV?
It
But
is. That's my little.
But I took
device
French too, so okay, so Phillip Sevy, let's talk about Triage, your new book coming out with Dark Horse. You're no stranger to science fiction, like we were talking off camera.
Yeah.
And you're getting another chance to for a series to spread your sci-fi wings with in Triage at Dark Horse. So tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So Triage is like a sci-fi action adventure book that comes out in September. It's the first issue. It's a 5-issue miniseries.
Okay.
It follows the main character's name is Evie Pierce. She's a nurse. She's reached a point career-wise and just kind of life-wise that she's done everything she wanted to do, accomplished all those goals. She gets to that point and realizes, like, I'm not happy at all. Like, this isn't what I like. So what do you now do when, like, everything you've established your identity around isn't who you think isn't who you actually are? So there's that identity crisis aspect of the story, but the story itself really kicks off. She wakes up kind of in this psychedelic sci-fi landscape, and in the same room she's in is like a superhero and then like a post-apocalyptic warrior. And they find out that the three of them together are being hunted by this entity, almost kind of like a Terminator. It's not a robot, but it's a good way to describe it. If all three of them die, all existence collapses and ends. So they have to figure out how to survive an unstoppable killer, how they relate to each other, and why they're so important, and what it is that brings them together, that makes them this being sought after. Right. So that's like the big genre, universe spanning, all sorts of crazy sci-fi action, all built around this idea. Like Evie, who doesn't understand who she is now fighting alongside like a superhero and Sarah Connor, and like, how do I measure up against legends when I feel like I don't even know who I am. I'm inadequate. So we play with those themes throughout the book. And
is it a real like self-exploration? I mean, or is it kind of like her personal journey, or is it?
Yeah, I feel the two of them to me are tied together really closely. Like, it's a really fast-paced book. We do a lot of stuff in there. It's cram-packed. I want it to be as like exciting and as comic booky as humanly possible. But I'm not interested in a story unless I can ground it in some sort of human emotion and journey that I can connect with.
Sure.
And that's the aspect that I would hope that people would connect with and enjoy as well. Is that emotion part of it?
Definitely. And who do you have working on the book with you? What's your creative team look like?
Yeah, my creative team is me, and that's about it. No, and like a little bit more. So I'm writing it, I'm penciling, inking, and coloring it. So I'm doing all of those aspects.
Okay.
And then I'm working with Frank Vitkovic on letters.
Okay.
Frank lettered a horror graphic novel, The House, that I did a couple years ago. Frank's been doing stuff with IDW and Dark Horse, and he's a phenomenal letterer. So I brought him in on this because lettering is a massive skill that I do not have if we ever want the book to come out. It takes me like hours to letter a page, and my letters are mediocre at best.
Sure.
And Frank's phenomenal and works on a letterer schedule. He is fast and he gets it done, so he helps tie it all together. But other than that, it's me.
Okay, so that's pretty hefty task to take on. So with Triage, are we looking at just an ongoing? Are we looking at a mini-series?
It's a 5-issue miniseries.
5 issues.
Yep.
Okay, that is planned out.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
And we worked really hard, me and my editor, and then anyone else I brought in to help me, just give me feedback, to make sure that like it's a satisfying 5 issues. That it's not a to be continued, like half the story's been told, because with comics are like, if sales aren't there on creator-owned books, you're not going to go past your first arc if you're lucky to get a first arc. So we want to make sure that, perchance, if it's a sleeper hit, we'll say, that people will still feel really satisfied with the story that they've got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And is it available for pre-order already? September?
It is. It's available for pre-order now. It just was put in the system a couple weeks ago. Okay. The final order cutoff for retailers is August 12th. So we've got another 3 or 4 weeks for retailers to get their orders in, and people to let their retailers know they want the book. So.
Okay, and you taking on cover duties as well?
Yeah, I'm doing covers. We've got some amazing variant cover artists, and they're just standard A/B covers. We're not doing any incentives or anything that makes retailers' lives hard.
Okay.
You order the A cover, you order the B cover. The A cover variant is Hannah Templar. And Hannah did all the covers for Tomb Raider Inferno, which was the last Tomb Raider book I worked on. And Hannah's drawing Glow with IDW right now.
No, she's a great colorist, cover artist.
She's amazing. She's got an OGN coming out through Top Shelf called Cosmonites that she's serializing as a webcomic first, and it's fantastic. I've read like the first 100 pages.
Wow.
It's a really cool series. So yeah, to have her the cover is out. Dark Horse released it a couple days ago.
So she's taking on the variant. Now, will she be doing the variants throughout the series?
Just the issue 1 cover. I've got a different artist for each cover, so we'll start revealing those here in the next couple weeks as the covers come out. But there's some really cool covers.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because then we'll put both diamond codes.
Yes.
You know, maybe they want the variant too. What's the most interesting, or the most, how can I put it? What are you most looking forward to exploring with, maybe not just the series, but with this character? And kind of, as opposed to other titles you've done.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, with Tomb Raider with Dark Horse, you know, it's an adventure, but at the same time, you have somewhat a character that people are already familiar with.
Yeah.
How are you looking to flesh out Evie and also in creating your own and building your own project, your own intellectual property to explore?
Yeah, so there's 2 aspects probably to answer that question. One from just like an overall standpoint. Like, I love comics. I grew up reading comics. Like, my first memory as a kid involves comic book characters. Okay. So I've been like, you know, from birth, I've been indoctrinated usually through myself. It's not like I was passed down. But what I loved about comics, or I still love about comics, but to the medium specifically, is when you pick up a book that does what a comic does. Like, it's not like a TV or a movie in a comic book. It is exploring and pushing the boundaries of what you can do in a book that is so 100% comic books. Like, I grew up on X-Men comics in the late 80s, early 90s, and the breadth and insanity, and I mean that in a good way, that they managed to do in those comics, just to this day is still like what I love. Like, I use the example of the character Cable, who I love, and has like the most insane backstory in the history of comic book characters, and it is 100% comic, and I love it to death. So approaching this comic, I wanted to do something that pushed. You know, we're playing with different genres. There's superhero, there's post-apocalypse, there's sci-fi, there's human, just kind of real-world stuff. I wanted to do something that just like you get the experience of reading a comic book that was made to be a comic book that excites you and makes you feel like a kid. From like a high level, that's what I wanted to do and explore, and having a real fun time doing that. And it's a different creative approach than just doing a comic book that you just want to tell a good story, which obviously everyone's goal. But this one is not only to tell a good story, but it's to elicit somewhat of a nostalgic response in you. It's this weird thing that as I'm trying to vocalize it as I talk to people, hopefully I'm coming across the kind of what I'm attempting with the book. And then from a character standpoint, exploring, you know, the questions that Evie has as a person, I think, to me are very personal. I've had a couple experiences in my life where, like, you know, career-wise, even though I've always wanted to do comics, and I've been coming to San Diego and showing my portfolio, I think I started when I was 15 in 1999, so that gives you an idea of how many years it took me to break in. I got a degree in corporate finance. I worked for Goldman Sachs. I worked in the finance world for a couple of years, and I just hated it. I was so miserable, and it hit that point where I went to a really good business school. I got a job with the top firm in the industry I'm in. I've done all the things that I set out to do, and now I hate it. Yes. Right. So how do you shift gears? There's been other experiences in my life that have caused really loss of identity and trying to figure out who am I now? Like, am I a good person, or, you know, is anyone going to like me because of the changes and things like that? And those are other things that kind of play into this identity story that I'm exploring with.
So yeah, in Triage, you're getting we'll see parallels to your own life.
It's not my it's not my life story, but I need to. I was on a panel earlier and we were talking about the importance of fiction versus reality in stories. Right. Was the question, and then for me, when I approach stories, I'm more interested in what's true than what's fiction or nonfiction. And true is like the truth of the emotions and the truth of the story. So anytime I write a story or work on a story, I try to find those emotions that feel true to me. So even though the characters are not me and their experiences are not me, I think as humans we can connect because our experiences are more similar than they are different.
Sure. Along those lines, who do you see out there that's like hot on your radar that you think's like really, that maybe
Yeah.
You think it's just a hot thing that you're a big fan of, that you're following, that you're...
That's a good question.
Or maybe, that so much so that, hey, maybe we'll do a cover for you. Maybe come work on a project with you.
That's a great question. I mean, for as much comics as I read, like I love everyone. Like we're across from the Marvel booth right now, and they've got the banner up for the new J.J. Abrams Spider-Man comic.
Oh,
which
right.
I like J.J. Abrams, but what interests me, what makes me going to buy that comic is that Sarah Pichelli's drawing it, and Sarah Pichelli is one of the best artists in the industry. So I mean, beyond just like your top tier level people, which they're amazing people. Like I know I think I mentioned in some other interviews, like Canto at IDW just came out. It's written by David Bohr and Drew Zucker.
I'm speaking with them tomorrow.
Excellent.
They reached out to me, so I was like, yeah, let's do this.
They're both friends of mine, but I love that book. They're doing such cool stuff.
I did see a lot of, you shared a bunch of their recent posts on Twitter, just in the last couple of days, I noticed. So.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I mean, Drew and I did a horror book before that called The House. It was like a self-published thing we did. But like, I'm excited for them and the work they're putting out. It's a really great book. It's not just because they're friends, it's because I'm a fan of it. There's a lot of really great creators out there that I'm like, ugh. There's an artist by the name of Nick Robles, and Nick is doing the new Dr. Mirage series at Valiant.
He does a lot of covers too.
Yeah, he did Euthonauts, and he did the covers for Infinite Dark and Top Cow, and Nick is just a brilliant artist and one of the nicest human beings ever. And I'm like, yes, Nick, I need to do something with you before you get locked down for the rest of your career, because you're about ready to
just blow up. And
he's already exploding.
Yeah,
I don't. Within the creative community, he's exploding. Fans haven't quite got to it yet, but they will in the next year, and they'll just see the new stuff he's bringing out. So, I don't know. There's so many people, and that's one of the fun things about working in comics is everyone you work with, you start to be, it's your family and your friends, and you get excited anytime someone has something good happen, and when things fall apart.
It's a more community feel.
Yeah.
And people looking out for each other and encouraging. That's awesome. No, those. Some great people. One thing that I am sitting here processing and thinking, what are the biggest challenges for you? You're taking on such a large role with this.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of people can do one of those jobs.
Yeah.
Very few people can take on writing and art. Artwork. You start getting people like Lemire or Kent, and that kind of had like this weird artistic genius thing that, they can, in their own way, they can nail it.
For sure.
And then, on top of that, coloring duties. And juggling that, or, how do you, you're used to working with other creators and passing it on to the next one, or, however that process is.
Yeah.
How do you manage that time with, hey, today I'm an artist, today I need to just color, today, how...
It's a big challenge. I've done stuff before, little like self-published stuff or web comics where I'm doing most of the roles. Okay. But to have it at this level where it's it's a Dark Horse book, it's a 5-issue mini, there's more eyes on it than ever before. Whereas before, when you do your own thing, you're like, I'm doing this for myself. It's fun. If anyone reads it, amazing. But no one's going to read it anyways.
Right.
It's been a lot more emotionally taxing than I had anticipated. I love collaborating on comics. I still want to work with other people. I'm not like one of those. From now on, I will only work with myself people. I'm like, I want to do my own project still, but I want to bounce back and forth. There's so many phenomenal people out there that I want to work with. But yeah, I didn't realize. I understand the collaborative nature of comics. I've done it for a while, but I didn't realize the emotional load you share with each other. Because if everyone's doing their part, you're not as so worried about like falling apart, right? You're going to do the best you can at penciling if that's your gig, or writing, or lettering, whatever it is. Right. But everyone else is working hard on the project too, so you share like an expectations load. When I'm doing everything by myself, I'm like, if the book sucks, I can't blame Frank's letters. Frank's letters are awesome. Right. I can't be like, Frank, that figure looks awful. Why did your lettering affect the art?
A nice placement.
Exactly. So I felt the responsibility and pressure of making it as good as possible, more so than anything else. I'm always focused on my role to make it as good as I can, but now that I'm in almost every role, it's like everything's on me, and if someone clicks with the book, that's amazing. We're on the same page as far as like what we like and what we want to accomplish. And if they don't like the book, then I did it all. Sorry, that was me.
Well, it kind of speaks volumes that Dark Horse is willing to give you this opportunity to expand and
super lucky
to grow in this area, and you got a 5-issue miniseries coming out this fall, and I would imagine then a single volume trade.
Yeah, that'll be out
shortly
in the
after.
spring. Yeah, as soon as shortly after it wraps. Yep.
Awesome. Phillip, thank you so much. We look forward to Triage,
Thank you.
and we'll definitely keep our eyes out. I know previews are coming, and we're definitely looking forward to getting out there and spreading what you're doing. So,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Phillip Sevy. I'm a comic creator. I've got a new book coming out from Dark Horse. It's called Triage. It's a 5-issue miniseries. Issue 1 will be out in September. It's about a woman who has to team up with a superhero and all sorts of, and a warrior, and they have to work to save all of existence and the universe.
Awesome. Great.